Hello, everybody. Welcome to Political Football. My name is Dave. I'm here with Cleve. No Scott tonight, so it's just Cleve and I. We are going to break down the AFC and NFC West divisions here in the NFL because the season is right around the corner. Cleve, my question for you is this. It relates to last week. I'm sure you saw the news about J.J. McCarthy. So what do you think about us having a full season of Sam Darnold as a starting quarterback? So he's back in our lives. J.J. McCarthy is out for the season with a torn meniscus. Sam Darnold will start for the entire year for the Minnesota Vikings. Would you like to change your win total prediction for the Vikings up to like 13 or 14 with that news?
I would probably shave off like 6.
So, yeah. I mean, now you're obviously a Jets fan. You got the hat on for the audio listeners. But you're just not basically packing in for the Vikings.
Yeah, it's good luck with that. We've seen the Sam Darnold obviously ghost stuff, so good luck with that.
Well, from a fantasy perspective, I actually think it doesn't matter too much for Justin Jefferson. Sam Darnold certainly has the ability to get people the ball, so I'm not too worried about that. And I think they'll be okay this year. They're not going to make the playoffs or anything, but I do think this does give the Bears a real chance to make a move because it puts the Vikings kind of considerably below them.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Okay. So we're going to get into the NFC West and AFC West. No Scott tonight. I was going to try to shoehorn in 3 divisions between the 3 of us, but we're only going to do the two Western divisions here. And so we're going to go in reverse order, 4th through 1st of my predictions. So of course, feel free to let me know if you think any of these are out of order or incorrect. Starting with the NFC West, we're going to go with my 4th place team in the NFC West, the Los Angeles Rams.
I don't think there's no pushback there.
Well, that will come to a surprise to some people, I'm sure. But I think the Rams will finish 4th here. Now, last year they won 10 games. Cleve, last year you said the Rams would win 6 games, so you were, not a believer in them last year. This year, the line is 8.5. You said 7. So for the second straight year, you're just not buying the Rams.
I like Puka. That's pretty much where it stops.
So the questions for the Rams, Aaron Donald did retire. So they have to figure out how they're going to overcome that loss. And I mean, you can't, right? That's just too fundamental part of a defense.
Use the anchor of that defense. Like you have to game plan specifically for him,
Yeah, and he would offer, 2 to 3 plays a game that nobody else is going to make. And how do you replicate that?
No, it's a big loss. It's a big loss. I'm pretty sure they spent the entire offseason, or they're spending the entire offseason figuring out something else. But I mean, that's a huge part to take out of your defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp are getting up there in age. Stafford's going to be 36 this year.
That's Kupp, a lot of quarterback years.
Yeah, I think Cooper Kupp is 31 this year. So, I don't think Stafford will hit the wall quite yet, but he's been injured a lot. There's always some retirement talk about him. Cooper Kupp, again, I think he's good. I think he's very skilled. However, when it goes for these guys, it goes fast. If Kupp just falls off the cliff, and Stafford's only 80% of what he was, I don't see, like you said, Puka Nacua. They have Kyron Williams at running back, but there's nothing really to prop them up.
Nope. I mean, Puka's going to have another great year. We'll see if the ghost of it's funny that we said that because was it 4 years ago we were cheering this guy's name.
That was the 2021 season.
Yeah, so that's about 3 years
Cooper
ago.
Kupp had, Cooper Kupp had the best season any wide receivers had in NFL history.
Triple crown. And now the guy's an afterthought.
Well, he's still. I mean, he's still a top 25 pick in fantasy drafts. You know, he still is considered to be very good. But the thing is, at that age, it's sort of like Devontae Adams. You know,
Yeah,
whenever it happens, it's just going to be really
it goes
bad for him.
fast. Yeah, it just goes really fast.
No, yeah. Personally, I think he's got one more good year in him.
Mhm.
So I think we're going to see another productive year from Cooper Kupp. But then next year is when it's going to like completely fall off.
I think when guys retire, the ones that get to like a mic or a presser to do their retirement versus Twitter or Instagram or whatever, they should give the moment when they know that they're done. Because I love hearing that in some kind of way years later, like when you knew you were done, when I couldn't get a 5-yard hitch, like I'm done. Like I couldn't get to the flat in time. I'm done. The ball's like way out there already. And I can't will myself to be there because we're going to, like you said, for receivers, more than running backs, receivers lose a step quickly. Like if the corners are able to bear down, they can't get separation. We're like, as you say, they're dust balls at this point. They're done.
I had a co-worker that's unfair to put it. One of the big bosses at my first real job back in Michigan was a really good high school running back. We're talking like leather helmet time because he was older. You know, this is like 20 years
Bronco
ago now.
Stuff.
Yeah, we're talking a long time ago. Because like 20 years ago, he told me this, and he was like 70 then. So he really smart, obviously, goes to school to Illinois. He's going to play running back for the football team and then eventually go to medical school. His very first practice, he got hit by Dick Butkus and retired.
Smart choice. It's probably turned out better for him.
That's when he knew he was done.
That's a good story.
He said, no, thank you. This is not for me. Yeah, I don't see it really with the Rams. Their draft was not that great. First round pick. They had their first round pick since they took Jared Goff in 2016.
Wow.
That's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah, 2016. Wow.
Yeah.
That's like 8 years ago.
Yes. They took crazy. Jared Verse, a defensive end out of Florida State. In the third round, they took my boy Blake Corum from Michigan, who's a perfect fit for them at running back. But again, if the offense falls off in any way, another good running back isn't going to save it. So yeah. I think I have this team finishing fourth in this division. I wouldn't be shocked if they finished even second. I do not see them making the playoffs this year. I think this is the year it does finally sort of collapse in on them, and they have to fully rebuild that. So we could be seeing things like Cooper Kupp moved at the deadline.
Yeah.
Sort of things.
Get some pieces for him. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If you're Buffalo and Kupp is healthy this year, what do you give? What do you give for him at the deadline? You know what I mean? So that's what I think we're going to see here. My third place team in the NFC West, I have the Seattle Seahawks.
Gino and the boys.
Yeah. So last year, the Seahawks won 9 games. You had them winning 10. This year, Vegas is 7.5. You have them winning 9. So you have been bullish on the Seahawks the last couple of years. Of course, no Pete Carroll anymore. They have a new head coach, Mike McDonald, who was the defensive coordinator for the Ravens the last couple of years and for the University of Michigan the year before that. And new offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb, coming over from the University of Washington. Offense, it's up to Geno Smith. The main question I have here is which Geno are we going to get?
Risk or reward. We're going to Liam, we're going to get, I think we're going to get a repeat of last year, be honest with you. I think Geno played his way. It took him a very long time to get to where he is, and good for him. Obviously, we didn't see that kind of flash when we had him in the building, but it is what it is. But I really think that they're going to have a 9-win season. I'm going to stand on that.
So keep in mind that Geno's breakout season was 2 years ago now. Last year, he was just slightly above average. He was okay. Yeah. Like he wasn't like Jets Geno.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't the Geno that got the big contract either. So the question is like, do they get the big contract Geno or do they get just kind of like mid Geno? And if it's mid again, I mean, they have DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith-Njigba. I mean, they're set up to pass the ball.
Yeah, they have to. To your point, they have to maximize this window. You know, they have to, and they paid him. They paid him already, right?
Yes, yeah, he's in the
Yeah,
second year of his big contract now.
yeah. So, this might be his prove it year. And again, they have these pieces in place, so he has to produce something.
And I'm with you with it being a window for them, because I'm sort of down on the Rams this year. We'll get to the Cardinals next. Now, most people have the Cardinals still being bad this year. If that's the case, San Francisco's a juggernaut, but this might be Seattle's chance to try to jump up there and get them.
Sneak in, yeah.
Because if Sean McVay stays with the Rams, even if they are bad this year, they won't be bad for long.
Yeah.
So unless the Rams completely start over top to bottom within the organization, they're going to be coming right back here. I'm with you. I think Seattle needs to do something right now. I haven't made up my mind yet, but I don't think I have Seattle making the playoffs this year. I was having finishing third of the division, and so I don't think I'm going to have them like two teams out of this division making the playoffs. I think I'm going to go with just the one, actually.
I have them because I'm not big on the Cardinals. Like I would have put them above the Cardinals.
Yeah, and most people would have the Cardinals fourth. So we're about to get to that. Last thing I do want to say here in Seattle, draft first round pick, 16th overall, to Byron Murphy, defensive tackle out of Texas. In a normal draft, he's a top 5 pick, top 10 minimum. But with 47 quarterbacks and 900 wide receivers going to the first 15 picks, it pushed the defensive guys down. But he's already dominated in camp. Like, he's already just causing real problems in preseason games, drills, all of it. Because he's a top 5 pick talent at defensive tackle, so that's going to be really good for them. We touched on it here briefly, but number 2 in the division this year is my surprise team in the league. I have the Arizona Cardinals. Last year, the Cardinals won 4 games. You had them winning 3. This year, Vegas is 6.5. You say 6. So you've been sort of on board with Arizona, with where everybody thinks they're supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen. And I'll use this lightly. I think we've seen Kyler peak, but we obviously don't know the potential, like what he still has left. Because again, what season was he out for? Like most of the season, was it last year or the year before?
It was the year before, and then the beginning of last year.
Yeah, so we really haven't seen him like really at peak again for a while. Like, so call it a season. Mm-hmm. Call it a full season if you mix those two timelines together. So if the Kyler before that shows up, yeah, then I can get behind your argument. But if we're going off of what we've been seeing with him, it's because if he gets hurt again, they're done. They're who's the backup?
I don't know, Joe Coxlam.
Yeah. So the fact that we don't know who the backup is or care, it's riding on this kid like to do his thing. So
yeah. So here's my counter argument for why I think that the Cardinals are going to be a lot better. What if we've actually not seen peak Kyler? What if Kyler was held back by injuries and really shitty coaching from Cliff Kingsbury? And
okay, the Kingsbury thing. Okay, yes, the Kingsbury thing counts.
This quarterback who was unstoppable in college, top 10 pick in both the NFL and the major leagues. Remember last year when he was getting his contract, he was getting all sorts of grief because they were like, you have to do your homework, you're playing too much Call of Duty and whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All those idiots are gone. They were trying to make that contract and everything. I think there's a chance that we had not actually seen Kyler Murray at his best. And then related to that are the weapons that they have. Trey McBride, who's going into his 3rd year, really emerged as a tight end last year, where now he's going in like the 5th round of fantasy drafts. Obviously one of the best young tight ends in the league. And the 4th overall pick, they added Marvin Harrison Jr., who is a prospect. He's a better prospect than his dad.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, is he going to be a better player? Probably not. That's a pretty high bar.
He had Peyton. Yeah, he had Peyton.
Yes, so. That's a pretty high bar. But just as a prospect, as a player in college and as a resume coming into the NFL, Junior is ahead of dad.
Okay.
That's pretty good to add to Kyler. I think that there's a chance that we have not seen the best Kyler that there is to be seen. And if we get that, right, is that better than Geno? It's a lot better than Geno. Is that better than 36-year-old Matt Stafford? Probably.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Better than Brock
yeah.
Purdy. Probably.
Yeah. I mean,
Right?
I don't
Like
know. Better than
if
Brock. You still not high on Brock. You still not high
no,
on Brock.
I've
So
always been high on
I
Brock
don't know.
Purdy. I'm saying though is that if we get the best version possible of Kyler Murray, the Rams have the best quarterback in the division. Right. The 49ers have the best team.
Yeah.
You know, but you and I could quarterback that team to 3 wins. You know. George, take it. You know, Debo, come get it. You know, we could at least win 3 games with that squad. So it's not really a knock on Purdy. I'm just saying that, like,
yeah, I mean, I mean, he benefits from having a stacked roster. So,
right.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers retires this year. The Jets could bring in a quarterback. The absolute best version of Brock Purdy or the best version of Kyler Murray? Who do you want?
Ooh, that's a real question.
Yeah, like you would think, like you want the best version of Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. There's a chance that the Cardinals end up with just the absolute best quarterback in this division and not even being that close. And in that case, to me, that's really going to launch them up. So that's sort of what I'm predicting here. That's why I have them finishing second. Mentioned Marvin Harrison, 4th overall. They had 2 first-round picks this year. They also took DeMarcus Robinson, defensive end out of Missouri, with the 27th pick, and they traded down a couple times to get there.
How did Harrison Jr. look in I haven't seen any preseason games. I'm seeing it.
I doubt he played, because if they didn't play any starters the first week, he wouldn't have played.
Yeah, I mean, with 3 games and people going down, normally going down, like it's hard to see like your star players, like you're
and
not
I know
play your guys.
Yeah, and I know you watched some of him last year as well, but Marvin Harrison Jr. is built like Julio Jones and moves like CeeDee Lamb. He's absurd.
Yeah.
He's absurd.
I mean, definitely not who his dad was.
Yeah, it really is like his dad taught him how to play like him, and then Junior being 4 inches taller and 20 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
But still moving like dad. It's
freak show. That's
it is. It is. Like he could be a bust because he could just be he could be an 87 on Madden, and it's the 4th overall pick. That would be a bust. But he's not going to be bad at football. He's going to be a good player. He's not. It's going to be 3 years from now. Oh, he's on the San Antonio Brahmas leading the way. In the 5th round, pick 138, they took Xavier Thomas out of Clemson. He was the top player in the nation coming out of high school as a defensive end, and he had lots of injuries in college. I think the worst one was an ACL, but it seemed like he was just always hurt, couldn't stay on the field. But, hey, might as well take him 5th round. If he stays healthy, put it together, that could be a great pick for them as well. So, yeah, I think Arizona, Vegas is 6.5. I've got them winning 10 games this year.
Wow. I'm gonna have to lay some coin on that.
I'm really in on the Arizona Cardinals this year. So, and it's gonna get chopped up to a TikTok. So I'm sure people are gonna bring this back up when they go 3-14. But
we'll live in that space.
Yes. Speaking of which, if you're listening on audio, thank you. Since we're back on all the audio formats now, there is a link in the show notes, not just to YouTube where we do the live stream, but also to the TikTok where we post a lot of the clips and that sort of stuff. And I do my best to try to make funny AI images to go along with what we're saying here. So I have to say the AI, not the greatest, but also I can tell like in 2 years it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's developmental.
Yeah. One thing it can't do that I was really shocked by, it has a hard time with anachronistic clothing. So like if I say I want Albert Einstein on the Dallas Cowboys sideline, no problem. It can do that. If I say I want Albert Einstein on the Cowboys sideline in a Dallas Cowboys starter jacket, it can't figure it out. It can't figure out to just put the jacket on the person. It's like, no, Einstein wears the tweed coat. If it's Einstein, it's tweed. It can't. Like its brain breaks.
You got yeah, that's fucking. Oh man, I mean, that's fitting because you could probably put a coach on the sideline that's probably
Yeah.
not going to match anything.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it
the
doesn't matter.
reason I was trying to do that one in particular is I was Scott and I were talking about. Scott said that you need to have smart people on the sideline to advise the coaches on what to do, for going for two or whatever. And I was saying no, just make smart people the coaches.
I mean, I'll go with that.
Right.
Give a guy
So
a pocket watch.
Right. So I wanted one where like it starts with Einstein whispering into Mike McCarthy's ear, and then when I start talking, switches to just McCarthy to Einstein as the head coach. But it couldn't do it. Not yet. But it's getting there.
It's getting there. Okay.
So of course that leaves just one team here for the NFC West, the San Francisco 49ers, defending conference champions. Defending conference champions. Painful to say, beat the Lions to get there.
Well, they're losing. They're gonna lose a big piece. They're gonna lose Ayuk.
Right? Oh, okay. Yeah. We'll go right there. You think they're losing Ayuk, huh?
Well, reason I said that is today I worked from home today. Sorry, I worked from home today, and something came across my screen because I keep like sports stuff ticking all day, and it said that the Steelers were finalizing, or they're trying to finalize a deal to get him out there. And I watched Tomlin on the Pivot podcast a couple days ago. I guess they were at camp. The guys were at camp, and they had Tomlin sitting in on something, and they kind of brushed at it. And he was saying like, if I can make that happen, I will. So it may look like it could happen before kickoff, before the season kicks off, which will be interesting.
That would be very, very interesting. To tie this back to what I was just saying about the AI on the clip where I talk about Brandon Ayuk being traded. Scott and I are talking about it, and I said the 49ers should be trying to fleece somebody. When I say fleece somebody, it is an AI generated picture of Mike Tomlin. He was the one I was like, no, he's the guy that could actually get, or the organization could get fleeced in this deal here, because the 49ers have all the leverage. So
yeah. Is it a contract dispute? Like what?
Yes.
Why is he leaving? Oh,
yes. He wants to get paid, and they don't want to pay him this year. They want to franchise tag him, pay him next year, because next year they can rework Debo, rework CMC. They also think they need to pay Purdy next year.
Yeah, they have to pay Purdy next year. If he has another good season, I mean, the guy had a Super Bowl berth.
So
don't get banned of that.
So we're going to get to that too. So 2023, 49ers won 12 games. You said they'd win 11. This year it's 11 and a half. You said 13. So you've just always been on board with the 49ers the last couple of years. Last year you very famously predicted Brock Purdy to win MVP, and I laughed in your face. And then he finished like second and was eliminated on Christmas Eve. So you've had a good line on the 49ers. So when you say Ayuk's getting traded, I'm listening to that. My other question here, though, is Brock Purdy still trying to earn a big deal? Because personally, I would not pay him. I'd let him walk.
Let him on the free market?
I would offer him the 40. I would offer him the exact same money Jared Goff got. And if he didn't take it, I'd let him go.
With a Super Bowl berth? I mean, okay. So let me work through this logic. So you think of it as a team thing with him, like he benefits from the stack roster. If you put him on any other team, the game you always play, he wouldn't be Brock Purdy. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. If you flit, let me think of a good one here. If you flit Brock Purdy and Derek Carr, would the Saints all of a sudden be good?
I think Brock is better than Carr. I think Brock is better than Carr.
Is he taking the Saints to the Super Bowl?
No, they don't have the personnel. Like they don't have what he has. I mean, CMC alone can take a team to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Like,
yes, and so that's my point. I don't think that they should pay a ton of money.
Okay, so he shouldn't be breaking the bank. He shouldn't break the bank. Okay. I could like. I think he should get fair value because of the Super Bowl berth. But again, the argument is made that he's part of he benefits from a roster that's incredible.
Right. I'm arguing that 49ers should not pay him fair value. Fair value for him is going to be going market rate to the Dak Prescott. I mean, Trevor Lawrence just got however much he got.
Yeah.
Right.
And Trevor Lawrence
Justin Herbert has whatever. Right.
Trevor
And I'm
Lawrence
saying
didn't
that
deserve that.
and I'm saying Brock Purdy should get the Jared Goff money, the Daniel Jones money. And if he doesn't like it, he's more than welcome to go and take over some other team because I think
Yeah,
paying
no,
him
I
as a
mean,
franchise guy.
he would be stupid not to take it, to the Jared Goff or even the Daniel Jones money, because that's good money, right? Had he won the Super Bowl, then we're having a totally different conversation right now.
I don't think so. I think the conversation is exactly the same.
If he would have won the Super Bowl heroically, like if he would have balled out, right? He ran in, like say he ran into, if he'd have had the Super Bowl that Jalen Hurts had, then you got to pay him. You got to pay him.
See, the thing is that you don't actually have to pay him because you should not pay somebody for what's in the past. You should pay them for what's coming up. And what's coming up is Trent Williams is 9,000 years old. CMC is going to turn 30 this year. He turns 29 this season, so he's 30 next season. Debo turns 28 this season. George Kittle turns 31 this season. By the end of the next quarterback contract, all those players have to be replaced.
Yeah.
You do not want to be having to sign replacement players for players of that caliber, hamstrung by paying a bunch of money to a mid-level replacement, probably slightly better than that quarterback. You should give him Geno Smith money because he's a Geno Smith player.
Well, if he hits the open market, he's going to get $5 million more.
More than that. He so much more than I'd offer him. I'd offer about $40 million a year, maybe 42, adjusted for the new salary cap, between 40 and 45. He'd probably get 55 per year on the open market, and he'd probably get it from the Jets.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm saying that, because I would welcome him with open arms. Like, seriously.
Right. and if I'm the 49ers, I'm like, okay, then we're going to save this money. We'll bring in somebody else. We'll draft somebody else competent to come in and play. And we're going to spend this money on people we know we need to spend it on.
You know, we can move on after this. The reason I say what I'm saying is because Brock Purdy has a skill trait that a lot of these young quarterbacks don't have, is that he's coachable. Like he'll do exactly what he's told. And again, he could be benefiting also from the system that's in place for him. But as a smart coach, as you always say, the coaching has to be good. The coach is using the skill set that he has. He's not asking him to go out there and do something that he can't do. I'm asking you to run this offense the way I've designed it. Just run this the way I've designed it. And I think that any team worth their whatever would benefit from a quarterback coming in, but it has to be a competent coach. And if he comes to the Jets, Salah can't be the coach because he could fuck up an ice cream sundae like on a Monday.
Listen, Robert Saleh's coached 3 years with Zach Wilson. I think we really do need to give him a little bit of a break.
No, I think it's yeah. I wish you guys would be in the Jets forums because it's brutal. The New York market is brutal. Like it's still although that they're a sub New York team, it's brutal the way, like when he goes out to dinner, he gets attacked. Like, people say stuff to him. People say stuff to these guys.
Wait a second. You're telling me people in New York are unnecessarily mean and harsh and critical and harass the Muslim coach?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You see the clip when I think Zach threw like a pick or whatever. He's leaving the field and someone yelled at. I think I sent it to you guys. It's like, these seats aren't cheap, motherfucker. Because again, you're sitting like at the 50-yard line or whatever. And you paid for that. So yeah, you kidding me?
Yeah. If I'm the 49ers, I let Purdy walk. He goes to the Jets. The Jets sign him to the whatever money Dak's about to get, right? And then the Jets realize they have to pay Garrett Wilson. And they have to pay Breece Hall, and they have to pay Sauce Gardner. They have to pay. I'm forgetting like 3 other players on defense.
That's the problem. That's what they call it. First world problems. That's first world problems because the Lions are going to face that at some point.
The Lions are not going to face that because we have Jared Goff on $40 million a year. Clev has disappeared. As soon as he thought he was making a good point about the Lions, I'll wait for him to come back. But no, the Lions will not face this problem because they have Jared Goff and $40 million a year, which is why they can pay Amon-Ra St. Brown, or they can pay Penei Sewell, they're going to be able to pay Aiden Hutchinson, they're going to be able to pay Sam Laporta because they're not paying a ton of money at quarterback. So then once they make the and he's back.
That was weird.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, I hope your internet didn't go out because we're probably on the same same server or whatever.
I looked behind me to make sure that it wasn't storming. I'm like, it just dropped. So what I said before we got cut, the Lions will face this in 2 years.
But they're not, because they have Jared Goff on $40 million a year. Then they're going to draft a quarterback and have a rookie deal. They paid Amon-Ra St. Brown. They paid Penei Sewell. The money's there for Hutch. The money's there for Laporta. Like, this is not an issue for them. Their money is straight.
Okay.
Right. Now, if they gave Jared Goff $60 million a year, it could be an issue. But no, once Goff's contract is up, they'll draft somebody, and then they'll have a quarterback on a rookie deal while this other big money is coming through. They actually did a fantastic job with it. 49ers draft, the 31st overall, they took Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver out of Florida. I think they knew they're going to at least have some contention with Brandon Ayuk. So they took a wide receiver. I'm not a huge fan of Pearsall, but he's on the right team.
Fight for your target share, bro.
Yeah. And it's funny. That's something that Scott and I did talk about, is that, the wide receiver position, say Brandon Ayuk gets traded. If Ricky Pearsall sucks, he still get any targets. Kittle and Debo will just get more.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a win for him.
Yeah. Whereas at the running back position, if CMC gets hurt, it doesn't matter what jabronis are backups, they're getting carries.
Exactly. It's good to be him, right?
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the AFC West. We got Liam in the chat here, so I know he's getting ready for this. Now, remember, we're going in reverse order. So if you're a Chargers fan, for example, you don't want to hear me say the Chargers very soon because we want them to be winning the division. Spoiler, the Chargers are not going to win the division this year. So AFC West, 4th place, I have the Las Vegas Raiders.
And yeah, there's no well,
there's pushback from you on this based on your win totals, and there's definitely pushback from the market as well.
Yes. I actually listened back to the show, and I was like, you know what was I thinking?
Would you like to amend your Raiders win total?
Yes.
You had them winning 8 games. What would you like to have them at?
I'm gonna shave 2 off the top.
Take 2 off the Raiders. So the Raiders are going down to 6. Their line is 6.5. We'll make that change right here. Okay. Last year they won 8 games. You had them winning 7. This year, line 6.5. You have them winning 6 now. That's still more than the Broncos. So this is still some pushback here. You would still have the Broncos finishing behind them.
Yeah.
Antonio Pierce is now the full-time coach, and he was a great interim coach last year. They loved playing for him. Remember, they kicked the shit out of the Chargers like 70-7 towards the end of the year. Max Crosby, it's reported, basically told Mark Davis and his haircut that if they didn't hire Antonio Pierce, he was going to demand a trade. So that if that's true, that's really saying a lot right there. However, I don't think Antonio Pierce is probably a really good football coach at the NFL level.
I would agree to that for X's and O's, but I disagree because I love when former players kind of get elevated.
Yeah,
because they can share some stuff that a coach that never played can. And I think that he won the locker room, when McDaniels was ousted. And I think that goes far as that he will listen to the guys, and he's not coming in with a heavy hand. Like he's not coming in like, oh, what's the guy on Denver? Sean Payton. Yeah, he's not coming in like, oh, this is a regime change or whatever. He's gonna work with the guys. So this is his first full year at the helm. Mm-hmm. And I think that he's gonna have tough conversations with guys, but I don't think he's gonna be heavy-handed because again, he was a former player.
I think as a locker room coach, he's probably fantastic.
Yes, I guess that's the roundabout way of what I was trying to say. Like I think they can rally behind the guy.
And that's the reason for his meteoric rise, right? He went from like coaching high school to special teams coach of the Raiders, the head coach of the Raiders in like 4 years.
So this brings up an interesting point. So the fact that Raheem Morris was waiting in the wings and Antonio Pierce got a nod, I guess because he's already with the team at the time. Mm-hmm. Like the fact that you had guys like that sitting out there at some point, it lends to me like how do these guys with no experience, well, no top tier experience, get these jobs? Like you give the keys to the kingdom to a guy that just was the interim. And the Raiders are famous for that because remember the cable guy got it 1 year. The guy that what's his face? They call him the cable guy.
Oh, what was his name?
He's unforgettable. So who fucking cares, right?
Yeah,
But
I was thinking Jim Tomsula, but that's the 49ers.
Yeah, that's 49ers. But it was they call him the cable guy. Like it was a disaster. And he did an interim thing. Like, and then they elevated him. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
So the reason I don't think he's going to be a very good coach is that he's got statements out there talking about how they want to establish the run and run the ball and all that, which
old school.
Yes, or as we call it now, losing football. In addition to that, the organization of which he is a part, and he's a large part now, and he has a strong voice, really screwed up the quarterback situation. Their quarterback room right now consists of Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell.
It's tough.
They picked 13th overall in the draft, and they were unable to draft one of the 5 quarterbacks who went the first round, picking 13th. Why don't you anticipate a little bit and maybe make a move when your quarterback room is Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell? You know you need a quarterback of the future because Gardner. I mean, we love Gardner. This is a Gardner program.
He's a journeyman. He's a journeyman backup.
He's not the quarterback of the future.
No. He's a bridge guy. He's guys going to get you four game spread. Yes, and that's it.
He could have some Nick Foles and Job Hostetler in him. He comes in at the right time. He could get himself a title. But he is not the man.
Speaking of, Nick just retired this year. I didn't know he's still in the league. I didn't know he's still in the league. He announced his retirement on Instagram.
So did Tavon Austin.
Yeah, a lot of guys actually did. I meant to send it to you. I was like, wow, these guys, and I was shocked. I'm like, this guy's still in the league? This guy's still waiting for a call?
So let's think about what they could have done to address this quarterback room. First of all, the Steelers.
Don
in the chat. We'll get to him in a second here. The Steelers traded a 6th round pick for Justin Fields. That could become a 4th based on playing time. The Raiders didn't want a part of that. They didn't want to, we'll give you a 5th. Right?
I think the haircut's interference.
Well, that's sort of what I'm saying here. So they're picking 13th. And I know partly they were thrown when the Falcons took Michael Penix.
Probably.
Right? Because Knicks ended up going 12. So that's all QBs off one pick before they picked. But you need a quarterback. Once Penix goes off at 8, you have to be on the phone with the Bears at 9. What is it going to take? We could not go into next year with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell as our only quarterbacks. You have to come up and get J.J. McCarthy or Bo Nix or somebody. What's it going to take to move up there? And nothing. They do anything. And then on top of that, they stay at 13. Now, keep in mind, they don't have a quarterback, right? The starting wide receiver is Devontae Adams, who is 32 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They took a tight end in the 2nd round last year, Michael Mayer, second tight end off the board after Sam Laporta, who really came on at the end of last year strong. What position did they take at 13 this year?
Was it a lineman?
They took a tight end.
Oh, so they don't believe in the guy.
So they took Brock Bowers, the tight end out of Georgia, after taking Michael Mayer 35th overall last year, and Mayer really coming on.
Tells you what they're doing up there.
So, yeah, it tells you they have no idea what they're doing. On top of that, the Rams were desperately trying to trade up to get Brock Bowers. The report is they called everybody from number 7 through 13 trying to trade up to come get this tight end. The Rams were. Which means the Raiders had an offer waiting for him. All they had to do was think yes, move back to 19, get some picks. So the quarterback's already out. You already know I'm rolling with Gardner and Aiden O'Connell at this point. What's best for the future of this team now? Get more draft picks. We're going to take a tight end. When tight end is the one position that we're set at.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Organizationally, top to bottom, this is the very definition of a poverty franchise. And that's why I don't think Antonio Pierce is probably a good coach, because I don't think the Raiders will ever hire a good coach.
Well, he may not have had a voice in the room. He might have been like, "Hey,
but that's still an issue for him. If it's true that Max Crosby said hire him or I'm demanding a trade, that gives Pierce some capital.
Oh yeah, no, because he's a great locker room guy. Like we agreed to that.
Like, listen, Crosby's got my back. Taking Bowers is dumb. We're not doing that. Right? Like he would have that sort of behind him. So either he still doesn't have that, which is a bad sign, or he has it, didn't use it, or he has it, used it, and it didn't matter because they're that inept. Right?
Yeah.
There's just nothing about the Raiders that says we make smart decisions.
Yeah, you're right.
Therefore, why would hiring Antonio Pierce be a smart decision? Like they don't do smart decisions.
Yeah, it may be a complete combination of all of that together.
Right. It's like, oh, they made these 14 mistakes this offseason, but they just happen to back into the next Bill Belichick. I don't think so.
Yeah. Facts. Facts
right.
machine.
Antonio Pierce is 100% going to be the linebackers and specialty coach for the Lions in 2 years.
Man's making that call.
Yes, that's just what's going to happen with this squad. I will say with the second round pick number 44, the Jackson Powers Johnson, a center out of Oregon who was getting some first round buzz. He's going to be a really good player. He's going to play for years. Like they did actually get a good player here with that pick. The rest of their draft kind of a disaster. 6th round pick, they took Dylan Laube, a white running back from the University of New Hampshire, who I actually think was the best pass catching running back in this class.
Wow.
If they know how to use a player like him, I can actually see him doing a little something.
Is it like CMC-esque or
no? Because CMC is huge. Like CMC went to Stanford between the tackles, running people over.
Yeah,
and led the NFL in rushing last year as well. This guy is more like Darren Sproles, but bigger, but not as like jukey, but bigger, but like out of the backfield, catches everything sort. So if they know how to use him, he could be somewhat useful. But again, a pass catching running back for third downs isn't going to help you when you got Gardner Minshew and O'Connell for 17 games.
That's brutal.
Third place team. Oh, so we get to that. If you want to shout out to Don here. Don says, "What's up, guys? It's my last show in the U.S. while checking out in Thailand. My dad, Don, is moving to Thailand with his wife, so that is a very cool shout out to Don and Marlene. Moving next week. So yeah, they're just retired and they're making the move over to Thailand. They're going to get that good Thai food. Don's already gotten the setup for all his sports. He won't miss a single Red Wings game. Cleve, they are right now 12 hours ahead of us. So in Thailand right now, it's 8:15 in the morning, which means that for an NFL Sunday, kicks off at 1 o'clock in the morning Monday.
Well, he ain't going to work, so
right,
he's good.
Right, ain't no problems. I think the only issues would be the afternoon games, the 4 p.m. Eastern games, because the 1 p.m. games start at 1 a.m. He's fine there. The 8 p.m. games, the primetime games start in the morning. Monday Night Football starts at 8:15 in the morning.
Damn, that would screw me up. That's like being in Alaska.
Especially because Monday Night Football starts at 8:15 in the morning on Tuesday.
Football and morning don't even go together.
It is kind of weird, isn't it? But we have that here with soccer. It'll be like, catch Arsenal and Chelsea at 7 o'clock in the morning. But if you're in California, that's 4 a.m.
That's crazy. I didn't think of that. Damn. Good luck, Don. That's going to be interesting. But again, you're getting up to go from the door to get your paper to the couch, so you're good.
Yeah. A little walk on the beach.
Man,
people ask me like how to describe the town that he's moving to. Don, correct me if this is wrong, but I describe it as like Myrtle Beach of Thailand.
Nice.
So like beach town, really nice, safe. So I've not been there yet myself. Obviously, I will be going. I've not been there, have not been there yet, but it looks like everything I've seen looks like a nice place. So at least now we get views and downloads from Thailand, we'll know who it is. Speaking of, shout out to our listener from Germany. Downloaded the last 2 episodes.
Nice.
Whoever you are, we like it. All right, third place team here, AFC West, the Denver Broncos. Last year, they won 8 games. You said they'd win 8 games. This year, 5.5 is the line. You said 5. So you are down on Denver. The market's down on Denver. I'm also down on Denver. To be clear, I think both the Raiders and the Broncos are ass. So I think this might be a battle of 4-win teams here. Mm-hmm. My question for you, Cleve, is this. Do we know that Sean Payton is a good coach?
I don't think he's a good coach. I think he benefited from having Drew Brees a lot of years. It's just the same as Mike McCarthy having Aaron Rodgers. I think he's okay. I think he's okay, but I think he's still coaching like in that era, whatever that era was.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to say. We know he's not a bad coach.
Correct.
Like Mike McCarthy might actually be a bad coach.
Yeah, I mean, he got. I mean, you say it all the time. If you put Aaron Rodgers with Bill Belichick, they have 18 Super Bowls.
Yes. And so I don't think Sean Payton's a bad coach, but I'm not. I think you're right. I think Drew Brees might actually be underrated for how good he was.
Yes,
and what he was able to accomplish with that team. The fact they even won 1 Super Bowl during the Brady run is incredible.
I went back, and I'm glad you brought this up. So I went back and kind of like watched highlights and to kind of get who Drew was, because Drew, the comments that he had about the comments he had before, like it threw me off. But I said, let me separate the man from the football. Yeah, and I was like, how did this guy get wasted the way he did? Like he could have actually won maybe 1 or 2 more Super Bowls, given the personnel that he had too. So it lends to me that Peyton wasn't that great of a coach. He was okay. Like he benefited from having a great quarterback.
The thing too is, like, if we just look around the Saints, around Breeze in general, Michael Thomas probably isn't as good as his numbers suggest.
Yes.
Jimmy Graham probably not as good as his numbers suggest.
Yes.
Right.
And this is what I'm saying. This is exactly what I'm saying.
Alvin Kamara probably not as good as his numbers suggest. Like, I feel like Drew Brees, like, actually just
he's one of those rare talents where he was a fixture on the team, and I don't know if they did a decent job getting personnel around him. And you telling me 1 Super Bowl? 1?
Yeah. But you know who that reminds me of a little bit is Matt Stafford, where like these quarterbacks get the absolute best out of the people they play with.
Yes.
So if you happen to put Calvin Johnson with them, you're going to get Calvin Johnson.
Yes.
And so Michael Thomas, you get Michael Thomas. I mean, and think too is Drew Brees was ahead of his time. If Drew Brees was 10 years younger and came into the league in 2010, and he's in year 14 now at 36 years old, kind of like Matt Stafford, he probably does have more Super Bowls because of the way they would have played. So so bring us back to the Broncos and Sean Payton. I'm with you. I don't think Sean Payton is provably a good coach.
Not in this era, like not in 2024. Like I think the game. How long? I can't remember how long he spent in the booth, but it's just like when a player stays away for like 2 years. Like it's like when we said Kaepernick can come back and play now. Yeah. The game has changed so much from when Kaepernick played. Like it's no slight on him his skill set, but it's just a different game now. Like he was flash in the pan when we had that, but now Lamar's out there. Like you got guys that are doing it better, But I think no, Jacob, you didn't miss it yet. So just to kind of jump on the Peyton train thing, I just really think that he's average in this era, and we're gonna see them get their shit kicked in.
Yeah,
I
think there's a lot of good coaches who could do great things with Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's very few coaches like Mike Tomlin who could keep making the 7 seeds with Duck Hodges.
True. If Brees stayed on the Bolts, they would have won a Super Bowl. I believe they would have won a Super Bowl. Phillip Rivers was good, but I think with that personnel, with Gates and Tomlinson and all of those, with Drew Brees at the helm, they would have won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it certainly would have competed well.
Yes, it's definitely up for consideration.
They did go 14-2 and get Marty Schottenheimer fired with Phil Rivers, though, right?
Well, that was an organizational failure, Jacob. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
But Yeah.
So further for the Broncos here, aside from questions about Sean Payton, they trade away Jerry Jeudy to Cleveland. So they have Marvin Mims, they drafted the 3rd round last year. Troy Franklin took the 4th round this year. Cortland Sutton coming back off a major knee injury at wide receiver. Then they have players like, these are real people, Tim Patrick, who's off back-to-back torn ACLs. Devon Vele, who is a rookie. He's a rookie who will turn 26 during the season.
Wow.
Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Wow.
Yeah, which, by the way, I like Lil as a part of the given name, not just as his first name is Lil Jordan. That's his actual, on his birth certificate, Lil Jordan.
God,
but he's criminal. Like 6'5".
That's criminal. Like, man.
Well, see, I kind of like it because if you don't like it, you just never have to use it. Like if you were Lil Cleveland, you just call me Cleve.
That just sounds wow. That, I mean, when you name a kid, like with the name Barack, well, I know it was Barry before we changed it to Barack, but you can't work at a gas station. No disrespect to anyone who works at a gas station. You have to be president or CEO of some shit named Barack Hussein. Like you have to be somebody.
Like you really have to be accomplished to get.
Yeah,
They're saying that like Lil Jordan, if he like went to engineering school and wanted to get a job as a software engineer, like could somebody call Lil Jordan and see if they have that data for us? It wouldn't work.
When you say little for anyone's name, I think of the hat with the helicopter propeller on it. Like you come into a room with that on.
That's how old are you?
But you knew what it was when I said it, so you obviously got the reference. So there we go.
Yeah, we learned about those in history class in school. So yeah, I'm not seeing this team. They bring in Bo Nix, who's 24 years old. It's funny, as a freshman in Auburn, he was so terrible. He actually became like a meme for how bad he was. Obviously got a lot better. He got a lot better as the years went on. Finals for the Heisman last year, huge numbers. But he's the 5th one taken. He's 24. Like, is he going to step in right now to this garbage team and just, and what?
We're going to see if he gets yelled at on the sidelines.
Yeah, I actually have a lot of Bo Nix in fantasy this year because I think that the Broncos in general are undervalued because teams that lose a lot could be good for fantasy because they get garbage time and they have to run a lot of plays to try to catch up. But I don't see this team being actually good at football. I don't know what Sean Payton's contract situation is. I know they had to trade draft picks to the Saints to get his rights. He may get one more year.
Yeah, no, he's going to get one more year because, again, he got sent there. Well, he went there, and he didn't pick that quarterback. Well, I don't know if he was behind the scenes of the trades because did that happen before they got him?
Yes, he walked. He came into Russ being there.
Yes, so with that,
Russ's first year was the Nathaniel Hackett year.
Yes, and then we disaster. So that's why I think it's one more year because this might be his year 0 with the guy that he wanted, or at least his setup, like his guys or whatever. So
yeah, see, the thing is, I could see that if they look better but don't win more games, because that can happen sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to look that much better.
Okay.
Like, I think they're going to look like garbage again. And then it's going to be really tough to justify bringing him back. But, I mean, they will. He's going to get one more year. But Sean Payton, first coach fired 2025 season. If anybody has a line out there, let me know.
If they get another 70 burger hung on him, he's done.
I mean, the defense did get a lot better after that. They did, but yeah, a 70 burger. Number 2 in the AFC West. We're moving right along here. The LA Chargers. I know this is who the chat's here for. We got Liam and Jake both in the chat, both huge Charger fans. Last year, Clev, you predicted they would win 11 games. They won 5 games. To say this team was one of the bigger disappointments would be letting them down. Now this year Vegas is 8.5. You said 11. You are all in on the Bolts this year. So before I get to what I have written down, I'm gonna let you go. You're all in on the Chargers, making the playoffs, all of it. Let's hear it.
I like Herbert, and I like the coach now. So we can coming off a natty.
Yep.
And again I'll preface the point I made before with a coach that played before.
Yes.
And Harbaugh actually played quarterback he was actually okay. Like he was
good.
Yeah. So I think having that kind of for a young player, because Herbert is still very young in his career, I think that's the benefit now. We get a coach that can really coach him, and a coach that can probably coach the personnel better, I think. And then he brought in his own. I'm assuming he brought in his own team, right? He brought his own guys. Harbaugh.
Yeah, he brought in Greg Roman, the former Ravens offensive coordinator, who was his guy in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. I'm not a huge fan of Roman anymore, but Harbaugh is the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And then he brought in Jesse Minter. He brought Jesse Minter with him from Michigan. So Wink Martindale, when he was at the Ravens, had two understudies, Mike McDonald and Jesse Minter. Then McDonald went to Michigan and back to the Ravens when Wink left the Ravens. Then Minter came to Michigan after McDonald left. Now McDonald's the head coach of the Seahawks, Minter's at the Chargers, and Wink is at Michigan. So the same, but everybody's having success. It's like this defensive, successful.
Harbaugh has a tree. He has a tree now. I mean, and that's a testament to good coaching. But I think, just to preface this, we'll package it. Having a coach in there and some fresh coaching, a coach that played quarterback, that understands the position, that can actually coach a very talented quarterback. I think we're going to see a very good, or we're going to see what Herbert was supposed to be. I think we're going to see that, or we should see that. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I agree with you. I just have a couple of reservations.
That's
and that is the actual talent on the offense. That is to say, they don't have much. So their top three running backs on their depth chart are Gus Edwards, who is 31.
Cliff is approaching.
Yeah. And it's like he's even at his best, he's Gus Edwards, right? I mean, it's a Rutgers guy, so I don't talk too bad about him there for you. And then after that's J.K. Dobbins, who has 2 torn ACLs and a popped Achilles over the last 3 seasons. And then Kamani Vidal, a 6th-round draft pick this year. For a smash mouth, want to run the ball team, that's not a great backfield. Then for throwing the ball, their wide receivers are Josh Palmer, Ladd McConkey, who was an early 2nd-round pick this year out of Georgia and looks exactly like you think a person named Ladd McConkey looks. Quentin Johnston is done. Like, he didn't even do anything in the preseason game. Like, he was playing with, like, in the 4th quarter of the preseason game. He's the first-round receiver last year. He's toast. So, I don't even know who else they're going to have playing wide receiver, right? And then at tight end, they brought in Will Dustley from the Seahawks. So, like, who's the man here? You know what I mean? Like, who's
somebody's going to step up. Somebody's going to step up.
Keenan Allen gone. Open. Mike Williams gone. Austin Eckler gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's a total rebuild. So it's for Harbaugh's year 0. Obviously, it's what you said about the Broncos. They should look better than 5 games or whatever they won last year.
Yeah,
they should look better than that. But if they only get to 5 again, you just laid out the argument perfectly of why.
So the reason I have them second in the division is because I think that Raiders and Broncos are so horrible.
Yeah.
And I don't think Tony Pierce is a good coach. And he could be awful. I think there's a chance Sean Payton is an average coach and might be good. I know for a fact Jim Harbaugh is a good coach.
Yeah.
No question of that. That dude can coach the ball. So they have that going for them. I think the 2 teams are so horrible that I think that's like 3 wins. I think they'll win 3 out of those 4 games, and that is worth quite a bit. Also, Harbaugh is at Michigan. All his teams were good, but they always lacked at quarterback until they got J.J. McCarthy. And then they won the conference 3 straight times and a national title.
And that's kind of what my anchor of my argument is.
And he has the quarterback. Yes. Now, at Michigan, he always had everything else. He always had everything else at Michigan.
So they'll build around Herbert. Yeah, they'll build around Herbert. Like, for the future, they're going to build around Herbert.
Right. So this is the opposite. He has the quarterback. I'm not sure about what else. Now, Offensive line will be good. 5th overall pick. They took Joe Alt out of Notre Dame, who I think is a fantastic prospect. He's going to be a great tackle. They should have taken Malik Neighbors, wide receiver from LSU. I'm telling you, within a month of the season, Cleve, I'm going to say that to you again. I'm going to tell you the Chargers pass on Malik Neighbors when we're talking about the Giants, and you're going to be like, the Chargers pass on that guy. Guarantee you that's going to happen.
You must believe in fucking Danny Jones.
I'm telling you, this is going to come up, and you're going to be like, I'm going to be like, and Malik Neighbors, 7 catches, 183 yards, and 2 touchdowns. What? I'll be like, hey, by the way, Cleve, that's who the Chargers passed on. As we're talking about Josh Palmer getting 8 catches for 18 yards. So they should have taken Malik Neighbors, but Joe Alt, fantastic player. I just think that the Chargers' big issues the last couple of years wasn't talent. It was identity and organizational cohesion, and that's what Jim Harbaugh brings. He's competent. He knows what he's doing. Things are going to go his way.
Yeah, he's going to have power there.
Right, and that's worth a lot. I mean, when he took over Michigan in 2014 won 3 or 4 games. They were horrible. They got destroyed. The season ticket list got ran through. You could actually get free tickets to Michigan games in 2014 with a full tank of gas around Ann Arbor. I mean, that waiting list for season tickets used to be decades long with the Packers, right?
Hey,
2015, he won 10 games at Michigan.
It's a massive upgrade to coach at coaching because Harbaugh has NFL experience already. That coached the team to the Super Bowl. So, I'm big on him.
So, Liam here says that the Chargers had a good draft. I think the Alt pick was bad. No, I do not. I want to make that clear. I think Joe Alt is not a bad draft pick. I think Joe Alt is going to be a very good player in the NFL. When you're picking 5th overall, you might have to pick between different good players. And I think another player was a better choice. Not that Joe Alt was a bad choice. And then you think that elite receivers are harder than elite O linemen. No, they are not. They are now. Since we started doing the show in 2020, when Deebo Samuel and AJ Brown and DK Metcalf were 2nd-round picks, those days are over. Justin Jefferson in the 20s is over. Like, if you want one of those dudes, you're going to be picked into the top 7.
Yeah.
Right. One would dudes say, like Garrett Wilson went 9th. That's never happening again.
Yeah.
Somebody will now trade up for the future Garrett Wilson. So, while it's true that you could have gotten Justin Jefferson later and Devontae Adams in the 2nd round, and Brandon Ayuk went 25th. That doesn't happen now. If you put Brandon Ayuk in the class coming in next year, he's going top 10. And next year, if you want Luther Burden or Ted McMillan or Evan Stewart, you're picking in the top 10. And the Chargers don't want to be picking there. So that's why I'm saying that now the meta around this has changed. It's harder to get those receivers now. That's why they should have taken Neighbors when they had the chance. But I do not think the Alt pick was bad. I think Joe Alt is a very good prospect. He's going to be a very good football player.
Okay.
So that means Cleve. Who's winning the AFC West?
The Patrick Mahomes.
That's right. The Kansas City Patrick Mahomes. The Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, I don't think this should come as shock to anybody. Back-to-back Super Bowl champions. Something I didn't think was going to be possible in this era anymore. Back-to-back Super Bowl champions. Last year, they won 11 games. You said they would win 15. Remember, they actually had a down regular season. The Ravens were the number 1 overall seed. The Chiefs were the 3 seed.
3 seed, yeah.
Yep. This year, Vegas is 11.5. You say 15 again for the 2nd straight year.
Yeah, they're gonna run the table, bro. I just don't see them unless Mahomes gets hurt. They're hard to beat, man.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. They're better.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Like they got better.
Did they get rid of what's his face?
Kadarius Toney?
Yeah. I know you love the guy.
Yeah. Kadarius Toney is still on the roster, and with the new kickoff rules, could actually be a very useful piece for a team. But he's not on the wide receiver depth chart very much anymore, and that's the thing. So last year they're rolling out Sky Moore, Juju Smith-Schuster. Was Juju even there last year? I don't know. Marquez Valdez-Scantling was there. Mecole Hardman, right? This year, and they had Rashid Rice, who they drafted last year, who needs to drive slower. But Rashid Rice this year, if he gets suspended, they'll have him for the end of the year. So Rice is back. They bring in Hollywood Brown, who did break his clavicle, so he's out 6 weeks. But they bring in first play of the preseason, broke his clavicle.
Shouldn't even
they didn't bring him in. And I'm not fully sold on Hollywood Brown anymore. I don't think he's that great anymore. But even if he is Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he's still a much better version of that. And then they trade up with the Bills, and at 28th overall, take Xavier Worthy out of Texas, who ran a 4.21 40. Have you seen some of these camp highlights from the Chiefs, Cleve? They can't cover them.
It's gonna be with Mahomes' improvisations and these guys getting free. It's gonna be a fun. It's gonna be like watching the same version of the Tua Dolphins. Like it's just gonna be like a track meet,
right? And they still have Kelsey. So to me, the Chiefs actually got better, and I think they're one of the only good teams in the AFC that did. I think the Ravens sort of stayed the same. They added Derrick Henry, but lost some on defense. The Bengals better just because they get Joe Burrow back, right? The Bills are not better. The Dolphins are not better. The Jets are better because they get Aaron Rodgers. Houston is the same. They get Stroud for another year, so he could be better. But the Chiefs are looking to me, just for sure got better as one of the best teams in the AFC.
And they should. They won the Super Bowl.
Back-to-back Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, you have to expect them to get better. They got to roll it out.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think of the chances of? To obviously get another chip in the building to restructure Mahomes' deal, that massive deal that he got.
I don't think Mahomes is going to restructure his deal for a while. Because if he does it every year, there's always be the highest paid person. Eventually, that catches up with them, and they don't want that. So, every 3 years, he'll redo his deal, and he'll become the highest paid quarterback in the league, and he'll go from making $50 million to $60 million to $75 million. And when he's 41, he'll buy sign him to a $100 million 1-year contract for his retirement, right? So I think that they'll just keep doing that thing. My question about them winning another title is, I think every year could be Andy Reid's last year, and I think whatever the next year they don't win a Super Bowl will actually be his last year.
If they're not in contention, he's
no. If they just don't win it, if they lose in the playoffs, he's like, all right, well,
I'm good. Yeah. I'm here for the chip,
right? Because he's won he's got really nothing left to prove.
No,
through numbers of titles, he could catch Belichick. But to be perfectly honest, I'm not convinced Bill Belichick is a better coach than Andy Reid. He's certainly more accomplished.
Yeah. Belichick is the Frank Gore of it.
But Belichick's Browns tenure, which was good, and then he got fired. Andy Reid's Eagles is better than that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then just sort of based on age, if Andy Reid were the same age now that Belichick was when Brady came in, he would coach another 20 years Mahomes and probably win 3 or 4 more. So I'm not convinced that Andy Reid really has anything left to prove.
Yeah, he's having fun. He's having fun.
Yeah, and so, but if they do not win a Super Bowl, he might be like, I'm hanging it up.
Yeah, what else? You can't even blame the guy for something like that.
And then we get an entire season of Andy Reid and a Guy Fieri hosting Diners, Drivers, and Dives.
Good for him.
Wouldn't it be amazing? Just
good for him. Good for him, dude.
Yeah, so again, I think the Chiefs are going to win this division. I think they're going to run away with this division. I think they're way better than everybody else. Do you want to address a question Liam did ask here? Liam asked, are you saying the Jets are better than the Ravens? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the Ravens are kind of holding firm, and the Jets got a lot better because they go from Zach Wilson to Aaron Rodgers. But the Ravens were the number 1 seed in the AFC last year. So for them, standing pat is a great place to be. Right? Not getting any worse is really good for them. But no, I do think the Ravens are better than the Jets.
Would you rather have Rodgers' career in body of work or what Lamar has done to now?
You have to take Rodgers because he has a title and Lamar doesn't.
Take the title. Take the title off the table.
Like say they lose that Super Bowl to Pittsburgh instead.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Lamar because I think Lamar's 2019 MVP season is one of the best quarterback seasons we've ever seen. And the way he just absolutely stuck it to everybody. Like when he got the award and said not bad for a running back. I mean, the way he just shoved it up everybody's ass is just incredible.
Yeah, no, him and Cam to me had the two best rookie campaigns that I can remember in my life.
Well, Lamar wasn't his rookie year; it was his second year.
He
sat most of his rookie year.
Oh yeah, that's right. So
yep.
So given that information, I think Cam had the best rookie campaign ever, and Lamar had the best MVP run because of the massive chip that he had on his shoulder to prove everybody wrong. Cam's campaign was ridiculous.
So second year starters to win MVP, Mahomes did it too. Right, he started in his second year, won MVP, also won the Super Bowl. So I have to give Mahomes this MVP second year ahead of Lamar. It's just because he did end up finishing with the title.
I forgot about that. He took Smith's job, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That's where Smith went to the Commanders and then got his leg fucked up. Okay.
Yes, but I think the best rookie year for a quarterback. I mean, Cam was something.
I mean, of like the 20, the 2000, from
okay. Because I was going to say Marino's
all time, all time is Dan Marino. All time.
Marino's first and second years at the time that he did it.
Yeah, different football, different rules.
I'm a guy. That would be like a player coming in and throwing 110 touchdowns in his first 2 years now.
Yeah, that's dog years. Like you got to put dog years in those numbers. You gotta calculate by dog years.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Because I think Marino's rookie year is just out of this world good. Sorry, Don, if you're still listening. I know that's kind of traumatic for you, since the Lions famously passed on Dan Marino because they had Eric Hipple.
Could you imagine that?
That's the quote from the coach. Yeah, we drafted a fullback from Florida.
Where's that guy now? What is he doing?
I don't know. His name is James Jones, and it's not really his fault, but I still kind of hate him. Because Dan Marino was drafted the year I was born. Do you have any idea how much better my life would be just in general if Dan Marino was drafted to the Lions the year I was born?
Yeah, I mean, he's the greatest quarterback to not win a Super Bowl, like straight up.
Yeah.
Dude's beast.
Yeah. So man, fucking Lions.
Every team whiffed on somebody, bro. It ain't just y'all.
But the thing is that it's because everybody will pass on players that end up being great, but it's like, do you have a need? Is it an obvious pick? You pass on them for a dumb reason. That's when it taking Eric Ebron instead of Odell Beckham Jr. when your logic is you want a down the field threat to take pressure off Calvin Johnson. That's a special kind of painful. Right. They also passed on Aaron Donald in that draft, but they weren't we need another presence on the interior.
Speaking of Aaron, you remember that Hard Knocks? That's when what's his face was the coach of the Rams, Jeff Fisher.
Yeah,
Aaron Donald was catching passes in the end zone on that Hard Knocks, and he's like, "What do you do for us?" He's like, "Oh, I play defense." He was such an athlete. I was like, dude, and this dude ended up being like a fucking monster for them.
Yes. Aaron Donald, best football player of the last 10 years.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I mean, he's definitely on my Mount Rushmore, and he's definitely interior lineman, probably the best. I mean, Hall of Famer for sure.
Oh, yeah, first ballot. Let's go walking.
First ballot. Yeah, first ballot.
Let's just absolutely walking. For all the 2010s, Tom Brady was the best player. For the 2020s, Mahomes will be the best player. But for 2015 to 2025, it's Aaron Donald. For the 10 years he played, he's the best player.
He's got a little what do you call it? He's got a little bit of real estate there.
Yeah. So once again, we have the AFC West, Raiders, Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs. And I think the Chiefs are probably going back to the Super Bowl.
Same here. Like I'm gonna make one of those bets, like not my official bet, but I'm gonna make one of those bets that they do. At least I don't know if I can't say because I don't know who they're gonna face, but I definitely could see them going again because of what you said. Like they got better and they're scary good. Like they're scary good.
And their home field advantage is crazy. Like if they are the number 1 seed and you have to go through Arrowhead, like only the Bengals can do it. Right. So the Chiefs are locked and loaded again. But what you do now, the bet you make now is not Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. Go through the NFC, go through the division winners, and pick who you think the third best division winner will be. Chiefs to beat them. That's the way to do it. That'll get you some good money.
Okay.
Yep. And remember, if you make a bet, because I suggest it here, and you lose and you complain to us, you have to fight Clev.
That's in the show notes.
That is. It's part of the contract of watching. So don't come whining to us if your bet loses because I said something, or else you have to fight Clev, who's a personal trainer and boxer.
Don't bet Skippy's tuition. don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay, Clev, any final words?
I didn't realize that the preseason now is so short, like 3 games. That's it. Have you watched any Hard Knocks yet, or
not of the Bears? I'm actually probably going to watch both episodes right now, the 2 that are out.
Okay.
Because I was in Jersey the last 4 days. So.
Oh, really? Whereabouts?
We were in Cape May. We go every year.
Okay. And it's Jersey, but it is South Jersey.
Yeah, it's not. It is not New Jersey.
No, it's not New Jersey.
Right. It's I'm trying to think of a good example here. Philadelphia is not Pennsylvania.
No. Yeah. It's like that. Yeah, it's like that. It's like that. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. Cape May is nice. It's a good getaway. It's our version of like going like fucking like the Hamptons or whatever. Like it's a little stretch there. But yeah, Jersey's like up north. Like
like Cape May is on the Jersey Shore. But the Jersey Shore is not in Cape May.
No. Yeah, that's perfectly said. Said.
So we were up there. So I've not watched anything yet.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll probably catch an episode this weekend. Well, catch up this weekend. But I might be eating a little crow on
you think
on their quarterback. Yeah,
I tried to tell you, man. I tried. I'm telling you for years that this dude's legit.
Shit, like I'm sitting there like, okay, now I know how Fields had to go. Like they saw something, and then Fields fumbled. He had a bad fumble, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think he'd be fine. But interesting to see who's going to start in Pittsburgh. So, but yeah, I was like, oh wow, this guy can actually play a little ball. Dog, yes. I got caught up in the distraction shit with the fingernail polish and all that shit, but it's a dog.
Right. And the thing about like the fingernail polish and he has a merce and like who knows how he's dressing, but that's what I'm trying to tell people. He's the first Gen Z draft pick. Like he in general, that generation is very generalized, don't give a shit about anything like that. Like they don't, it doesn't like a man can wear fingernail polish and carry a purse, and it's not like, well, you can't be a man and you can't lead a man. You can't be a court. Like that thinking doesn't even apply to them, which is great. That's how it should be. But for us, we're looking at like,
I mean,
even if we don't have an issue with it, we're still like, but how will the locker room respond?
Yeah,
but for these kids who are like 21, they're like, who cares?
Yeah, he's got some good zip on the ball. He's mobile.
Like, and he's throwing on the run.
Yes, that part, I was like, holy shit. So I think that's what they wanted Justin to be like. And again, Justin, the Nagy thing, like you got to hang that over him, but we'll see. It's Trey Lance. Well, I know we're talking off top here. Is Trey Lance still with the Cowboys?
Yeah, he played most of the preseason game.
How did he look? You haven't seen anything?
Terrible. Actually, I caught some of that game. They kicked like 6 field goals and lost to the Rams, who played Stetson Bennett all game.
Wow. Sounds like a hat. Stetson Bennett. Sounds like a fucking hat.
And that's 2-time national champion quarterback Stetson Bennett. Put some respect on his name.
Dude, I'm getting my ass kicked by Georgia every time I play college football like online. If you have Georgia, I log off. I'm like, fuck you.
Stetson, by the way, real life Van Wilder was at Georgia for college for 6 years. I don't think he graduated. I'm pretty sure he didn't.
He's gonna go back when his career is over. He's like, I'm gonna go back and get this. I have 6 credits left. Hey, I'm still eligible.
Yep.
Yeah, I can play it down.
All right, man. Everybody who's watching, listening, thank you. Everybody in the chat, Liam, Jake, Don, thank you very much. Chat always makes the show that much better. If you're listening on audio, thank you as well. It is a YouTube live stream. There's a link in the show note. Everybody, please check out the TikTok as well, as I post a lot of the content over there. And if you do go to the TikToks, please also leave a comment. Unless it's something where I accidentally put hashtag Trump. It wasn't accidental. I just didn't realize what it would do.
The algorithm.
Well, it said if it's relevant to your topic, put it in the hashtag. It was Scott really talking about Joe Biden, right? That's really what the topic was. But he said Trump's name, and it's about the election. So I put it in there as like the 8th hashtag.
And that
God.
That got
my God.
That got
the weirdos were all over it.
Now you know how it works. I mean,
yeah.
JD Vance in drag is trending right now. So great. Fucking great.
Hey, the first human thing about him. Actually, it probably is. He's probably like, it's working for Caleb Williams. Let me go put these photos out here.
That's why I would never run for president. I don't even know what I forgot what I did. I don't even want anything to come up.
Yeah. But you have the ultimate excuse because you'd be like, it was Jersey. You're like, yeah, I guess
that's true.
Yeah, it was Jersey. It was Jersey and it was the 80s. Like you have both of the ultimate excuses.
That is true. That is very true, bro. Hey, Don, safe travels, man. I'm looking forward to staying in contact with you on WhatsApp, and happy retirement, man. I hope to get there one day to say I'm retired from shit.
A week from now will be 9 o'clock in the morning in Thailand, and Don will be getting up, sipping his coffee, watching the show, sitting on the beach.
Nice.
Yeah, could be worse. All right, we will see everybody next week. Scott will be back. I do not know which divisions we'll be talking about, but we'll talk about some of them. See you then. Peace.